coming up here on Chicago Bears now. Mel Kiper, latest big board, has dropped, so we're going to take a look at his top 5, top 10 prospects at a lot of key positions of need for the Chicago Bears and kind of examine them as potential Bears draft target. Senior Bows this week, getting closer and closer to the off-season, really ramp it up. So thought we would take some time and do that here today. When I look at the Bears roster, needs right now, I've got it as follows. Interior offensive line is number 1, guard center. You've got to address those areas. Edge is 2, although 2 through 4 could be interchangeable in my opinion. Left tackle is 3. If you roll with Braxton Jones, that probably falls back a bit. If you want at least competition order upgrade, there you could argue that's number 2. Defensive tackle 4, and then running back at number 5. Obviously, other positions will probably add some pieces as well. When you look at the draft, capital, the Bears have obviously days 1 and 2 will be the focus, as Chicago has the 10th pick. 2 picks in round 2 as well. Round 3, pick number 72, no 4th rounder right now. A 5th, a 6th, 2 STHs if Ian Cunningham were to get hired by the Jags to be their GM. There's been some buzz there. They would have an extra 3rd round pick this year, and obviously next year as well. Now, when you look at Dyer's, just top 10 overall players, and this will change, I'm sure, as this draft process goes with, measurements, testing how some of these guys perform at these pre-draft events, etc. He's got Travis Hunter as his number 1 overall player. Abdul Carter, Mason Graham is his next 2. He's got Shador Sanders, 1 spot ahead of Cam Ward with the 2 quarterbacks. There, Will Johnson, 6 Tito McMillan at 7. Jalen Walker, kind of the hybrid edge linebacker out of Georgia, as his 8th best prospect, Boise State. Running back Ashton Genty at 9, and then he's got Kelvin Banks Jr. as his number 1 offensive lineman. That'll certainly be a position we look at here in a sec as well. And again, when you look at Kiper top, 10 prospects, Bears are picking at 10 if it went completely chalk to what Kier had. That means they'd end up with Kelvin Banks Jr., who could certainly be a player that'll be in the mix for Chicago with the number 10 pick. Now, who is your dream pick in round 1, if you could pick any player that the Bears end up with in the 1st round? Let me know who that player is right now. Hard for me to settle on one. I mean, the complete dream would be one of Abdul Carter or Mason Graham falling to 10. But I don't think either get outside the top 5 or 6, to be honest. So, that's the ultimate dream. But we'll see who's actually in play at 10. Okay, let's talk running backs here. Because you know where I stand. I think the Bears need to upgrade this room. I think it's a position that they need to add. Obviously, Genty, who's going to get a lot of buzz. He's a Kiper number 1 guy, but I think you look in this like 2 through 7 chunk here, and really all the way to 10. To be honest, as guys, maybe you could get starting with that 39th pick, Marion Hampton. He could go round. 1 we'll see. Kiper is high. Laqueen Allen. We haven't talked about him a lot. Over 1,000 yards rushing and 500 receiving yards out of Syracuse. So he's an intriguing player. Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. Queenon Judkins, his teammate Trayon Henderson in the top 10 there as well. I'm excited to see Judkins test at the Combine. Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I would have him 3 on this list. After Hampton, R.J. Harvey out of UCF, who I really like, measured in under 5 feet 8. At the Senior Bowls, that's noteworthy. Cam, Skaboo, Trayon Henderson, and then Devin Neal out of Kansas, who's also at the Senior Bowl, a name to watch this week. I like DeAndre Swift. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's special. I don't think he has great vision. especially between the tackles. But I think as a part of a 1W punch that Ben Johnson had in Detroit with David Montgomery and Jahre Gibbs, I think he can be a part of that. You just need to get someone else in there to kind of, even if he's not leading that 1 punch, to join him. Because I don't think Roshan Johnson's dynamic enough to be in that 1W punch, if I'm being completely honest. As I sit right now, I want the Bears to take a running back on day 2. Now, obviously, that depends on what they do in free agency, but you pick at 39, 41, 72, potentially another third-round pick as well. I think you can get one of these running backs, 2 through 12 even. There's guys in Kiper, not in Kiper top 10 that I think are good players, that you could get in that range. I'd like to get one of them to pair with DeAndre Swift. Okay? Offensive tackle, his top 5 guys. Like I said, he's got Kelvin Banks at number 1, Will Campbell at number 2, of note. Both those guys could play guard in the NFL. We'll see what their arm length measurements are at the combine. Josh Simmons, who had the knee SU.